Ms. Tolley's demand for justice and information into her mother's death revealed a number of inconsistencies and conflicts of interest in the police report. She has been fighting for an independent investigation into her mother's death ever since. In January 2011, she co-founded Families of Sisters in Spirit in Ottawa, on the traditional territories of her ancestors. Families of Sisters in Spirit is a grassroots, all-volunteer, Indigenous-led, and ally-supported network for families of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirits. She is also an active member in the Montreal-based collective Justice for Victims of Police Killings. The title of her talk today is Families of Sisters in Spirit, a grassroots network for families of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirits. And again, it is such a great honor to have you.
Quite hello, everybody. Kachimi Gretch for allowing me to be here today. Such an honor and a pleasure. I'd like to acknowledge the territory we are on. We're on the Attawandaron territory, also known as the Neutral People. So thank you. It's an honor to be here. My name is Bridget Tolley, grandmother of, mother of 3, grandmother of 6, and a great-grandmother. I'm also 15 years. I started my journey for justice. Who knew I would ever be here? Such an honor, because I quit school in grade 9. So I never thought I would end up here in my life. As you can see, I don't travel alone. I travel with many. I'm never alone. And my journey started out when my mother, Tolley, was killed by the police in 2001. I never knew that this was gonna be my future. And then when this happened to my mother, it was just something that I never thought would happen. So I started my journey out, and I started actually with the coroner's report, and there was a lot of mistakes on there. And it also said my mother died because she was drunk and not because she got hit by the car. So this, of course, got me mad, upset, everything angry. And then I went after the police report for my mom. And even that I had a hard time to get, and I'm the daughter of the person that got killed, so I ended up getting a lawyer to get me this police report. And I had to pay, of course. Anyway, I got it, and that's when I started my journey. I found all the mistakes in the police report. It's a really big report. This is my mother's police report. There was 3 police forces involved. There was the Sûreté de Québec police that killed my mother. We had the Native police force who had jurisdiction to protect the body and the scene. And we had the Montreal police, because we don't have a special investigating unit. We get another police force from somewhere else to come in. But the Montreal police force arrived 8 hours later on the scene, so everything was gone. My mom was gone, everything. And when I did get this report, I found out that it was the brother of the cop that killed my mother that was in charge of the scene. So right there and then, you know. And even in this report, my family has not seen this report because there's too many mistakes in there. And I don't want them to see it, because why would I want them to see a bunch of mistakes? My family knows what I've been doing. I tell them what I do and what they need to know and what, you know. But other than that, nobody's seen the report besides me and a few of my friends. But this is what I've been doing. And not only was there one brother in the report, there was another brother. and a sister. So it was a family of police. And in the report, it all says, they're just trying to make my mother sound like she died because she was drunk and not because she got hit by the car. So this is when I started, and I didn't know what to do because I have no education. I didn't know what was in my future. I didn't know what was going on. I lived on the reserve. I was stuck on the reserve in my own world there. So after that, when I got this, I started going out and talking to people because it's not right. You know, we talk about police investigating police. Well, this is a brother investigating a brother. Why would they not want to re-examine this case or reopen it or whatever, you know? And this is what I've been trying to do for the past 15 years. It's trying to get it reopened, re-examined, re-looked at, re-something, whatever you want to call it. And so when I started my journey, I didn't know what this was all about. I was working on my own, you know, as just justice for my mother, Gladys Tolley. And then a few years after that, it took me about 2 years almost to go through the report, because this is against 3 police forces. I had to be sure I know what I'm talking about. I had to be sure that I had the proof in what I'm saying. And so, you know, I was kind of nervous too going against 3 police forces, because I said, oh my God, you know, whoever did this in their life, you know, I have no education, I'm from the reserve. You might think I'm just another drunken Indian woman too. So anyway, after my mother died, I did quit drinking, you know, because I said I didn't want, if anything would ever happen to me, I didn't want them to think I'm another drunken Indian, because they ain't gonna find that when I die. You know, I'm clean, no beer, no drug, no alcohol, nothing. 15 years ago too for that. So a lot had changed in my life after my mother died. And that's when I went to find support. And I found support. I went to the Native Women's Organization of Canada, Association of Canada. And that's when I learned of the Stolen Sisters. I went at the end of 2004 in November. And that's when I found out about the missing and murdered women, the Stolen Sisters. And actually the first Stolen Sisters report from Amnesty International had come out on October of 2004. So this is when I start learning about it and meeting other families. And this is also when I met Dan and Mary Lou. And I thank you, Kichimiigwech, for being here today to support me. There's a lot of us that have been doing this, you know, 15 years. It's a long time, but I look at others to give me strength. The other ones that have been doing this for 20, 25 years, you know, they give me strength to keep going. But, you know, when I met them and to meet all the families that were going through this, I couldn't believe what was happening, you know, all the women, you know, and the families, and nobody's helping us. And even for myself, going through this for the past 15 years, it's been hard, you know, because even my own community didn't want to support me, because we also have a police agreement involved in my case, which is signed by the federal government, the provincial government, and my reserve. And it specifically says in that police agreement that the Native police force had jurisdiction to protect the body and the scene. So, you know, with all that, I guess nobody wanted to take blame or responsibility for what happened. And they still don't. And this is why I'm here today. So I end up meeting with the Native Women's Association in Canada. And I had a lawyer at that time, and he told me either go get support from all national Aboriginal organizations, or he said, you can quit right now. I said, no, I can't, it's impossible, I just started. So not knowing what I was doing, or just, you know, I went out, I got support from BFN, the Native Women, Amnesty, the Quebec, my chief, everybody. And that's when it started. You know, at least I met everybody, I felt good. And families were the same as me. We were all together, we were all looking for justice. Looking for justice is something that I never thought I would be doing. I didn't know you know, that justice would be looking or asking the government or anything like that. I didn't know. I didn't even know what activism was. You know, I didn't know it was just justice for me. You know, for me and my hurt. So we continued that. In 2006, we started our annual vigils, and because I had went through the Quebec government, I'm from Quebec, so I had to go through all the procedures in Quebec. I went there, but I was trying to figure out how to get my mother into Parliament, and I didn't know how. I didn't know about all the MPs and all that. I was just learning about this. So anyway, I figured I would bring her outside to start, and I would figure out how to bring her in after. So we went outside, we started our vigils in 2006. We had 11 vigils across Canada. In 2010, also this was when the Sisters in Spirit started in 2005. The Native women had some funding for the Sisters in Spirit initiative. So this is when we all started, and I asked Amnesty and the Native Women's Association to help me to start these vigils, because I didn't know, you know, I didn't know what to do, and I wanted support and everything. So this is when we started. In 2010, when they took away the funding from the Sisters in Spirit, we had close to over 200 vigils all across Canada, internationally. So we brought so much awareness in these 5 years. And then the government stops us, the name, everything, stopped accounting, stopped everything. And this wasn't right, you know. I felt in my heart, you know, this is our Sisters in Spirits, you know, and we have to speak for them, and we have to continue. So that I didn't know what to do, and I was afraid, because they didn't want the Native Women's Association to use the name Sisters in Spirits anymore. I said, well, we can't have this, you know. And they started, because in honor of my mother's anniversary was October 5th. And the Stolen Sisters report came out on October 4th, so that's why we put October 4th as our main day for the vigils. So we brought a lot of awareness, and then when that was gone, we wanted to, I couldn't handle it, and I didn't want us to just be forgotten again. So I said, well, let's start, you know, Families of Sisters in Spirit. They can't tell me I can't use the name, you know. So I went ahead and I started Families of Sisters in Spirit. And we started there. We had, of course, we're always on a hill protesting something, so we went up there again, and we had our Day of Justice for our Sisters in Spirit, and we just kept on going and going. We ended up having 30 days of justice that first year. Oh my God, we did so much work. Almost every month we were doing something just to make sure that we were not forgotten. So this is a lot of our work that we have been doing. Families of Sisters in Spirit supports families. We do what we can. We support everybody. You know, I'm not here to judge anybody. We support all women, trans, two-spirit, sex workers. Everybody is human. You cannot say that, you know, it's not their fault, whatever they do. You know, I see a lot of people in sex work, you know, some women have to do this to live. You do what you have to do to live these days, you know, and people do sex work, sex trade, whatever it may be. Picking up garbage, who knows what you have to do, but we do what we do. And I support everybody. Don't judge, you know. We try to help as much as we can. We like to help families because when somebody goes missing, it's really hard. As you can see, all our women here, and Daisy is from my reserve also. She went missing in 2008. Maisie and Shannon, 2 girls. And I kept saying, how did these 2 go missing from a small community and nobody knows anything? I was in shock. I still am in shock because I still can't believe how they go missing or how nobody sees them or anything else. Look at how beautiful they are. They're not drunks. They're not druggies. Shannon was going to go to school to be a nurse. Glenda and Kelly are family members. And there's a lot of families that have more than one person missing. They're fighting for some, are fighting for a lot. This is another two family members. So you see, it's really hard. And we also have met Sonia's been, her case is still open, and it's been over 20 years for her, over 2 decades. You know, it's hard for me to believe, because some days I have such a hard time to keep going, especially when nothing has changed. And yeah, so just to keep going, it's hard. We've been, fighting the government for public inquiries and truth and everything. And the public inquiry, we even got a national public inquiry, but it's 2 years. It's been 8 months since they started, and families still don't know nothing. And even though Justin Trudeau promised, this is for all missing and murdered Aboriginal women, I don't feel it is. I feel left out because they will not reopen, reinvestigate our cases. So all our families that have closed cases, what do we do? Where do we go now? It's just a continuation of looking for justice for us, and continue to fight to fix these wrongs that have been done to our families. We're not asking for any more or any less. We just want equal opportunity for justice, to live, everything else. It's been hard. It's been hard on families because we get no help. When my 2 girls went missing here in Maniwaki, there was nothing. There was no police, there was no search, there was nothing till maybe 3-4 months later when the families did it themselves. And families are doing all the work themselves. And this is what's so hard about it. When you go back to your community, like I go back, I'm alone over there. And it's hard for a family that, especially like mine, against the police, and we have our own police on our reserve, so it makes it hard for me to even communicate with the police. We don't communicate. They haven't spoken to me 3 forces in 15 years. Something happened in October of 2013 when my own daughter went missing. It was an October evening, and her friend took off, and they went out. They're young, 2 young mothers, and they end up taking the wrong road and end up in the deep woods somewhere. So that night I said, okay, go out. The next day they didn't come home. It was Sunday. They left Saturday night. They didn't come home Sunday morning. I said, okay, well, maybe they'll be home later. I waited all day Sunday. No word, nothing, nobody seen them. Then Monday morning, that was it. I couldn't wait no more. I panicked. I said, what's wrong? The reason why I panicked was because my daughter had left her cell phone, her purse, her wallet, everything. And this is the same thing that happened with Shannon and Maisie when they left. They left with nothing. They had their purse, their wallet, everything was there. They were just going out for the night and coming home. So I really panicked because I'd seen it already of what happened. So when my girls went missing, I didn't wait. I panicked. I started calling everybody. The hardest thing for me to do was make a missing report, because how do I trust the police? I can't. They never talked to me. They never, in 15 years. After everything that's happened, I didn't want to make that report. But the only way I was able to let them know that she was missing was by making that report. So I end up going to the people that I didn't even trust to make this report to take care of my daughter. I was in pretty bad shape. Anyway, I was very lucky. 5 days later, we found them. I took the media, I went on Facebook, asking everybody to help us, and then finally on that Thursday, that what happened with the girls was they had found a cabin, which I'm very thankful to. They broke in that cabin, and they were lucky because they had a little bit canned food in that cabin too, so they were able to survive with what they had. They made a fire, dried their clothes, stuff. But they did everything right. They made a big SOS in the ground in case somebody would see them up there, you know, or a fire, or they did whatever. But they were stuck in the deep woods. They tried to walk out a few times, but they couldn't. They didn't see anybody, so they turned back. They were walking for hours. So that Tuesday night, they said they had found a little portable radio, and it was working. And they turned it on, and it was CBC French, and it was me. They heard me looking for my girls on the radio, and they both started crying, and it gave them more strength to keep going. So they tried to walk out of there again that Wednesday, but they didn't have any luck. They went back to the shack, and again that Thursday morning, they started walking, and they walked about 6 hours, and a forest technician had found them. He had seen them on TV, and he knew they were the missing girls, so he picked them up and he brought them home. He fed them, they were hungry, and brought them somewhere where the police can go pick them up. It's hard to believe, you know, I found them, but so many don't come home. So many of these women do not come home. This is the hardest part of doing this. You know, I pray nobody has to go through this again. This is why we do this. This is why I'm here, to make sure everybody knows that we can help each other when something like this happens, because we don't have the help. We don't have, when our girls go missing, it's family that's out there supporting, that's the family's out there looking, searching. Every day still I look around, see if I can find any of these girls. And this is why Families and Sisters was created, to help the families help them go through whatever they need. We help them with food, we help them with gas for missing, when they're, you know, to go search, whatever we can help them with, anything. You know, even for myself, you know, I do this, and I need strength, you know, sometimes, and even if it's just food to fill you up, you know, it helps so much, and we do the best we can when somebody goes missing. We get the word out. I have about, out of all this, I don't know what, but made me do all this, but I started Families and Sisters in Spirit. I have a Facebook group, I have a Facebook page. I started Missing and Murdered Aboriginal Women in Canada. That has almost 30,000 people on my page, so, you know, I get the word out fast. I also started Justice for Victims of Police Killings with families in Montreal. Oh my God, it's just so unbelievable, the stuff that we have to go through every day, and just to get justice. You know, like I said, I never thought justice was this ever in my life, you know, to be fighting two governments and, you know, even more, police, everybody. I find it's a big conflict of interest, because the police, you know, investigating police it's so heartbreaking. And then I don't understand why they would not look at my mother's case. You know, I've been telling them for 15 years. We had the women in Quebec, Val d'Or, Quebec, the 40 women up there. They charged the police and the SQ, and them too, only one person got charged out of there. So, you know, and these women were brave enough to come make statements against the police. So what happens to our families now? It's really hard, you know, to do anything against the government. Like, I've been trying for 15 years. I don't have money to help to get a lawyer. You know, they have money, they have all the lawyers. They, you know, I would need thousands and millions of dollars, I think, to get the help. But yeah, our work continues. We want to help as many families as we can. Please remember all our women here. I know I don't have too much time left, but I will end with justice is a form of respect. This is what we want. I take it to stand against violence, all kind of violence, not only for me, but for everybody, all of us. Most of all, justice for missing and murdered Indigenous women, our sisters, and we are our sisters' voices. This is all we have left. We will continue to speak on behalf of them. The government will not shut us up. I've been here for 15 years. I don't plan on going nowhere. I plan on keep fighting. I just want to say something about the national inquiry. I'm really disappointed in it. It's 2 years long. 8 months has passed. I feel left out. And other inquiries, we had a BC inquiry that took 2 years. And I don't know how they're going to do a national inquiry on violence, which is a major, big subject across the board. In 2 years, they're supposed to talk about this. And if it takes one province 2 years to do an inquiry, it's going to take Canada with 10 provinces and territories more than 2 years to figure out, you know, what's needed. Not only that, there's been over 50 reports, over 700 recommendations already that have been done, and most of these recommendations are not they're not put in place. For instance, the BC inquiry, only 3 of those recommendations were implemented. And even we see that for the bus, they were supposed to have a bus in BC on Highway 16, and that was supposed to be in last December, and still nothing yet, you know? So we just hope and pray and continue to do what we can for all our sisters in spirit, our stolen sisters, and our sisters everywhere, not only Indigenous, but all of us here. We all have to work together. We're all women, we're all, you know, it's all the same thing. It's not just me or my family, it's all of us. And I continue to pray and give my love and help whoever we can, because I know how hard it is. 15 years is a long time. And like I say, I to the others that have been doing this work for decades, you know, they give me the strength, so much strength to keep going. But it's so hard when the government keeps knocking us down, you know, and getting back up. But we get back up, and we're here to stay. So Kitu Miigwech, everyone, for being here today.
Bridget, thank you so much. And maybe I'll add an additional thank you for welcoming Dan Smoke and Mary Smoke, who are 2 elders in our community who are celebrities really among us. So thank you so much for joining us today as well. We do have a short bit of time for questions.
Well, a lot of people ask me that question. And my answer is support. Support the families. You ask them what they need. It's very important to ask them. You know, when somebody goes missing, help, any kind of help, you know, for me, it's get the word out right away. This is what I did with my daughter when she went missing. You know, I didn't wait for the police. I went ahead, did everything I had to do. But what's most important for me is ask the families what you can do for them. And don't be afraid to talk to them. You know, they're human, we're all human, we're not gonna hurt nobody, bite nobody, we just want help. So, you know, from my heart, just talk to a family, any family, because when we go home, we're alone. And I go home, I fight for this by myself in my own community. Even my own community gives me a hard time sometimes, but I'm there, you know, and I ain't gonna let anybody stop me now. No, no. Well, I'm hoping, you know, to have students help us, either law students, any kind of students, like even with my police report, I mean, I don't know, you know, I've been trying so hard, but, you know, and it's very hard for us to get any legal advice because you pay lots. Even, you know, the government, they have all kind of legal advice for free. So it's pretty hard for me. And this is the reason why I did the way I'm going, is because I can't afford a lawyer. They're going to drain me right away. So the only way I know how is by sharing my story, and hopefully one day I pray to get the help I need. But yes, that's you know, I'd really like any kind of help. If anybody thinks of anything, you don't have to think of it right now. In the future, I'm on Families of Sisters in Spirit. You can find me there. My email is familiesofsistersinspirit@gmail.com. Any help is so much appreciated, so very much appreciated, no matter which way, whatever way you can, you know. It might be nothing to you, but it's really something big for us. So I'm very thankful for all the help, and I'm very thankful for all of you being here.
And we're enormously grateful to you, Bridget, for coming and sharing your story with us. So thank you.
Thank you so much.